Kid tries sending his police officer dad after me. His plan backfires badly.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another wild story from the corners of the internet. For more, make sure to gently smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. Let's dive into it.
From the mid-90s through early 2000s, I've spent my summers working as a counselor at a Boy Scout summer camp. I've worked in several different program areas, but this story happened when I was the director of the rifle range. Every week we would get a new group of campers, and when they came up to the range for orientation, I would go over all the safety rules. I would finish by telling the kids, "Me, you all get one warning on this range, and this is the warning. There are only two safe directions to point your rifles, up in the air or down range. It doesn't matter if your gun is loaded or unloaded. If you break this rule and deliberately point your rifle in any other direction, you will be kicked off this range and will not be allowed to shoot here for the rest of the week." I would go over all of these rules again for the kids on the first day of merit badge classes to satisfy the safety rule requirement for the badge. And there were plenty of posters hanging around the range with all of the safety rules on them. In other words, there were no excuses to break them. One day, the scouts in my merit badge class were practicing shooting for the test they had to take at the end of the week. One scout, the entitled kid of this story, thought it would be funny to point his rifle at another scout and spout off some random action movie line. I ran up and snatched the rifle from his hands and yelled, "What the hell are you doing?" The entitled scout responds,
"Baby, but the gun wasn't loaded."
"Me, recite the safety rules now." The entitled scout recited them all, including the part about pointing the gun in a not safe direction. I told him to hand over his shooting ticket. I tore it in half and said he was done on my range for the rest of the week. Later that afternoon, the range was open for free shooting. Everything was going smoothly until I noticed the entitled scout walking up the trail towards the range with his father, an assistant scoutmaster, who was built like an NFL linebacker. After the round of shooting ended, I called a ceasefire and told my assistant to keep an eye on the range while I handled the situation that was about to happen. As I approached the entitled scout and his father, he jumped up and down, pointed at me and yelled,
"That's him! He's the one who tore up my ticket and kicked me off the range!"
He looks at me and yells,
"You're gonna get it now. My dad's a cop, and you're going to be sorry for what you did."
Before I could get a word out, Cop Dad gets in my face and started chewing me out drill sergeant style. Now, this story happened so long ago that I don't remember exactly what Cop Dad was shouting. I mostly remembered the grin the entitled scout gave me as he watched his father tear me a new one. I just stood there quietly and patiently, waiting for my turn to respond. Finally, Cop Dad said something along the lines of,
"So what do you have to say for yourself?"
Me, "Yes, I did tear up your son's shooting ticket and kicked him off my range. But did your son mention why I did that?" Cop Dad's face went from angry to inquisitive. He blinked in rapid succession as he said,
"And no, now that you mentioned it, he didn't tell me why."
We both turned our attention to the entitled scout. His smile faded, and he shrunk in our presence as he realized that his plan had just backfired. I loved returning the same shh and eating grin that he gave me a few moments earlier. To the entitled scout's credit, he did tell the truth. He probably knew better than to lie to Cop Dad. And if looks could kill, the look on Cop Dad's face would have killed his son several times over. After a moment of silence, he finally said, in one of the most intimidating voices I've heard in my life,
"Go back to camp and wait for me at your tent. I'll deal with you soon."
The entitled scout left to the tune of Dead Man Walking. Cop Dad turned to me and apologized for getting angry and chewing me out before knowing all the facts, to which I accepted his apology. For the rest of the week, Cop Dad would come to the range every day during open shoot my rifles, and would hang out and talk with me. Turned out he was actually a pretty cool guy. At the end of the week, he told me that when they get home, he will finish his son's rifle shooting merit badge, and he'll make sure that his son will never disrespect a firearm ever again.
That kid got exactly what he deserved. I hope this little story lightened up your mood a little. See you around. Make sure to subscribe and give us feedback in the comments below.